Good evening, everyone. It's me, Drive Ghost, and in the last 2 years, I've come to realize just how much I absolutely despise the Future Trunks arc. And I'm gonna go into detail in this video about the things that I dislike, the things I like, and my general thoughts on Zamasu and parts of the arc as a whole. There's gonna be a lot of negativity in this one, but I'm gonna try and keep a level head and just explain why I hate it. But yeah, obligatory, this is a long rant warning, and let's get into it. So, for better or for worse, the Zamasu slash Future Trunks slash Goku Black saga is a pretty popular arc in Dragon Ball Super, at least a very well-known and talked about one. Many would consider it to be among one of the best arcs in Supers, while others, myself included, consider it to be one of the worst. I, for one, absolutely hate certain parts of the arc and aspects of it as a whole, making it legitimately one of my least favorite anime arcs of all time from the anime that I've watched. And in this video, like I said before, I'm going to be going over everything I dislike about it. But before we get into all the negativity, let's go over the things that I actually like about the arc, because as hard as I'm going to be on it, there are still certain things that I really do like. For one, I'm a big fan of Goku Black, and especially Super Saiyan Rose. I love the design of fused and merged Zamasu. And of course, exploring the other universes is always fun, plus seeing Future Trunks again is nice, and it has some interesting callbacks and scenes, such as Goku learning the evil containment wave, and Vegeta expressing his respect for Goku when fighting against Black. All these aspects, and some more, I consider to be some of the best in Super. Just sucks they ended up in such a lackluster and frustrating arc. Alright, let's go ahead and get the goblin out of the way. I fucking hate Zamasu. Starting with the main man himself, Zamasu is just incredibly annoying and uninteresting. While I understand that he's supposed to be seen as a hypocrite, that doesn't make it any less annoying. And it's just really annoying listening to his ego all throughout the saga. Yeah, there are plenty of egotistical Dragon Ball villains like Frieza and Cell, but the difference is theirs were entertaining to watch and they could back up their egos. Because, as far as they know, and as far as they have proven, they were the strongest. Zamasu isn't even actually a god. He's a core person. The people, the species of Supreme Kai. He doesn't even have the role of Supreme Kai because he didn't even finish his training. So he doesn't even have any excuse to be that egotistical. But even with that aside, he isn't a threat. On his own, he's not a threat. He relies on immortality, the time rings, and just double-teaming enemies with Goku Black to be relevant in the arc. If you took away, any of those elements, he probably would have gotten his ass handed to him 8 ways to Sunday. He would have stood absolutely no fucking chance at all. Yes, even with immortality, he would have had no real chance. Sorry, let me calm down a bit. Even then, it doesn't make sense. Being immortal wouldn't let Zamasu, who previously got defeated by just Super Saiyan, yeah, it wasn't like an all-out fight, it was more like sparring, but still, suddenly he can contend with Super Saiyan Blue? Do you have any idea how monumental a gap that is? Even if we say that he was training in the time between then, which he likely was because he was a Supreme Kai in training, that still wouldn't make sense. The only major power boost that we know he gets is immortality, and that wouldn't give him the power to damage people on Super Saiyan Blue level. It's ridiculous. Goku Black. The epitome of a waste. Goku Black is one of the coolest characters in Dragon Ball Super, and by far the most interesting and captivating of Super's unique villains, with the only one that I really think giving him a run for his money being Moro. Even then, I'd still say that Black comes out on top. However, they didn't just drop the ball with him. They hurled it at the speed of light into the core of the planet. Instead of giving him an interesting backstory, they just make him another Zamasu? We already have Zamasu driving the arc. Why do we need 2 of him? He could have been an alternate universe Goku or Kakarot that Zamasu recruited using the time ring. He could have been a clone of Goku made by Zamasu or the Red Ribbon Army or someone. created for their own evil deeds. He could have been future Goku, reincarnated as an evil being like the opposite of Kid Buu being reincarnated into Oob. He could have been anything but a goddamn another Zamasu. Why do we need two Zamasus? He had so much potential with his backstory and he was so captivating, they could have made so much work with him. And they chose the weakest backstory for a villain possible. Just, he's another villain who traded bodies with a different character. Alright, now let's go over how the Zero Mortal plan is probably the worst plan in anime history, even beating out the Eye of the Moon plan from Naruto. Realistically, this plan should have been dead in the water. There is no way on God's green earth that after one or two gods of destruction and or Supreme Kai were killed, the angels, the Grand Priest, or Zeno wouldn't have taken notice. They'd taken notice of significantly less severe stuff in the multiverse. Like, the freaking tournament between Universe 7 and 6, that caught their attention. That wasn't even like a grand spectacle thing. How are you gonna say that they take notice of this random tournament, but they don't notice a bunch of freaking gods of destruction and Supreme Kai dying? And they certainly would have intervened. Especially considering that time rings were being abused, and they seem to take time travel extremely seriously in Dragon Ball Super. At the very least, the angels would have warned each other after their gods of destruction died. Yeah, they become inactive, but at the very least they would have taken notice. And once they were warned, they would have prepared for them. And they would be no match in a head-to-head fight against any of the gods of destruction. Especially since we know that at least one of them, being Beerus, knows a sealing technique that could seal immortals, even if the Hakai doesn't work on immortal beings like Zamasu. They have other ways to take care of them. And if even one god of destruction remains, their plan is straight out the window, because that god of destruction is going to come find them and beat the ever-living dog shit out of them. The gods not intervening and the destroyers being eradicated was nothing but plot convenience with little to no thought put into it. No disrespect to Akira Toriyama, I don't know how much of this he wrote in the anime, because, you know, it's told very differently between anime and manga, so from what I heard, he just gave, like, a general storyline and, like, some scenes and stuff. So I don't think he wrote most of this in the anime. If they at least went into detail and properly explained how they managed to kill the Supreme Kai, that would be something at least. Like, they didn't know Zamasu had turned evil and he called them all to one place. And then he and Goku Black basically jumped them and killed them, which took out their gods of destruction by extension. But that is hearsay. It's hearsay. They don't explain it. They just say, using this powerful body, I killed the gods of all the universes. Bullshit! And here is a little side of useless power-ups. As cool as Super Saiyan Rage and the Evil Containment Wave are, they both amount to the same thing. Jack shit. Trunks uses Super Saiyan Rage once, and it doesn't even really accomplish anything, plus it's not explained. There are theories that it's his version of Beast as a Saiyan-human hybrid, or an incomplete form of it, but that's hearsay, as it's not confirmed. I even checked the wiki. The most we get is that it's an advancement of Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan 2. No shit, I could have fucking told you that! And Goku learning the Evil Containment Wave was completely pointless because they continued the trend of Super Goku being a literal drooling dumbass and have him forget the container, which doesn't even matter if you want him to forget it! Ow, I hit my desk. If the Evil Containment Wave can seal things in rice cookers, in tiny jars, just seal him in, oh, I don't know, the capsules that Bulma invented, or you could even put him in a freaking water bottle at that point. And they just keep going out of their way to make sure that no one likes Vegito. Previously in the Buu arc, Vegito had to suffer a draw because of the situation. There it was understandable. He and Gohan both could sense that the people were still alive within Buu, which is why neither of them were aiming to kill Buu. But here they just go out of their way to tarnish him because he's actually going for the win and still fails. For starters, they bring back that dumb rule from GT that the strongest transformations take away from the fusion time. Fusion is barely used anyway, why do you have to nerf it? And this wasn't in Z. The closest thing to that was Gotenks running out of time in Super Saiyan 3, but that didn't make him defuse, just de-transform because he couldn't maintain the transformation any longer. And it's also shown that Vegito is equal to or stronger than merged Zamasu, yet somehow completely fails to defeat him. This was just an excuse to keep the arc going and give Trunks the W against Zamasu, which was also pointless, because Zeno ends up finishing him anyway. So why couldn't you just have Zamasu final Kamehameha him to death? Well, quote-unquote death, he's immortal. And speaking of which, how in the sweet hell did he fuse with the universe? His immortal soul being unable to be destroyed upon his death without the help of Zeno, that's fine. If the Hakai can't destroy him, destroying the body would not put him down. That's understandable. And considering the power of the Super Dragon Balls in general, it just makes sense. What doesn't make sense is why his soul was then somehow able to take over an entire universe, and then a timeline? Like, what? When has that ever been established that that's a thing? Now, with the timeline, you could argue that it's because of the time rings, but I don't think his soul can wear a time ring. How the hell does he have their power then? Did his death make the power of the time rings merge with his very being or something? Like, how the hell does he still have that kind of power? Merging with the universe would be one thing, you could make an excuse for that, but how'd he merge with an entire freaking timeline without the time rings? So in conclusion, to me this arc sucks. The Goku Black arc is the worst arc in Dragon Ball Super, in my opinion. It's full of plot holes, plot convenience, stupid decisions, cool scenes that amount to nothing, making them all the more frustrating. This arc has it all. Everything it needs to be considered terrible. But luckily, I've heard that it's significantly better in the manga thanks to Toyotaro. And from the relatively little I've seen, that's true, which is good, because like I said, the arc has a lot of great moments that just fall flat. But the manga is basically the anime's second chance to fix things. And from what I've heard, Toyotaro did a pretty good job of that. Respect to him. And someday I plan to make my own rewrite of this arc, but I want to really take my time with that. After all, it's easy to nitpick and complain. It's hard to actually fix the problems. So I want to make sure that when I do that and when I post it, I want to make sure that it's as good as I can make it. It's probably not going to surpass the writing of the anime, or certainly not the manga, but at the very least, I hope that when I do that, it will redeem the arc in my eyes, and I can appreciate it more. But anyway, that's for another time. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening to me rant. Peace.